Tonight, 5 months on, should Port Augusta's booze ban continue to be extended? Key Port Augusta figures have their say on the hotly contested issue. And NAIDOC Week celebrations continue with traditional food, dancing and cultural events right across the Spencer Gulf.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. With restrictions on the sale of alcohol still ongoing in Port Augusta, questions are being raised around whether they will become permanent. Locals say nothing's stopping residents from bottle shop jumping to avoid the caps on liquor purchases.
The Port Augusta community has been left wondering, will the restriction on the sale of alcohol in the city become permanent after the liquor ban was extended for the 3rd time? The Liquor and Gambling Commissioner says more time is needed to consider the next steps.
He makes that decision after talking to the various locations. He'll take further information and direction from the community itself.
Since February 8th, Port Augusta bottle shops have been subject to strict orders stopping them from opening before 11 a.m. and limiting customer purchases of fortified wine and cask wine. Despite these rules, locals say they have not seen much of a difference. One option is to follow in the footsteps of neighbouring states and territories with the introduction of a banned drinkers register. The BDR essentially identifies people who are banned from purchasing takeaway alcohol and stops their purchase, and helps in reducing alcohol-related harm to individuals, families and the community. But local MPs say the decision will need to be supported by other programs, or the city will keep going in circles.
And there needs to be, when it comes to some of these issues, far greater coordination.
We need to make certain we've got the health and well-being of our community for the people involved. We have to make certain that they can have the treatment and get on top of some of the issues they've got, not only mental health issues, but also health issues in their own body.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A Whyalla Stewart man has been stripped of his driver's licence for 12 months and had his car taken away for 28 days after he allegedly crashed his car on Playford Avenue in the early hours of Sunday morning. Police allege the 22-year-old behind the wheel hit a parked car and then absconded from the scene. Officers caught up with him not too far away and say his roadside blood alcohol reading came back 3 times over the legal limit. He was reported for drink driving, leaving the scene of an accident and driving without due care, and will appear in court at a later date. NAIDOC Week was in full swing in Port Lincoln today, with members of the community gathering for a traditional feast. A cook-up at Mallee Park's Wombat Pit saw locals come together to celebrate, whilst enjoying a kangaroo tail or two.
NAIDOC Week off and racing. After missing out last year, NAIDOC celebrations are back, with many taking to Mallee Park today to get involved.
All the different service providers here in town have come out and put some stalls on with information and activities for community to engage in, which is good. It's nice you've got a good turnout.
A traditional styled cookout was also on display, with many locals enjoying the meat from a kangaroo's tail.
A bit of an early start, me and one of my colleagues. So we've come in about 7 o'clock, start the fire. Put some of the meat on, the kangaroo tails and kangaroo shoes that we've been cooking today.
The theme of this year's NAIDOC Week is Get Up, Stand Up and Show Up, and the community have been doing exactly that.
Here in Port Lincoln and any community, it's about all of us coming together, celebrating, the NAIDOC Week. Time together, all services, community working together, marching together.
Arts and crafts, a jumping castle and smoothie making bikes keeping people entertained throughout the day. And there are more celebrations to come later in the week.
Oldest living culture in the world, so just for us to sit here and get a week to us and celebrate that, it does mean a lot, for our people.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Meantime, the Port Augusta community has been treated to another day of NAIDOC Week activities, with local schools bringing their students along for the city's Culture Day. Dance groups including the Dusty Feet Mob, the Davenport Dancers and Eddie Peters performing to packed crowds at Gladstone Square. Many of the school students excited to participate in the dances.
To get them up and, because, kids are energetic, they like to move around, they can't sit still.
The sharing of culture extending to a cook-up of traditional foods for the community to sink their teeth into. Organisers say the performances and food are a way of teaching the community how culture is passed on through generations. Still to come tonight, Better Together. The Port Lincoln League set to merge before year's end. And two incredibly important community health organisations come together in Port Pirie to teach more locals how to save a life. Welcome back. Almost a week into the new financial year, SAPOL is reminding Spencer Gulf residents to be wary of scammers around tax time. While there are many variations to possible scams, most of them start with a robocall saying that your tax file number has been used illegally, and that if you don't press 1 to speak with a representative, then you'll be arrested. Advice from police is to not engage with calls of this nature and to hang up. Police are also advising that scammers can manipulate incoming caller ID to mimic local police stations, tax agents and the ATO to reel you in. It's recommended that you log into MyGov to view official ATO correspondence. Two Port Lincoln sporting clubs have come together, making an in-principle agreement to merge. After a soft amalgamation of almost 7 years, both the Tasman's Football Club and Imperial Netball Club are looking to join forces going into 2023.
A new era for sport in Port Lincoln. Two major clubs coming together, forming the Tasman Imperial Sporting Club.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be amalgamating with the football club. It's exciting for our future and cement some strength between football and netball for not only today but for our children and our children's children.
The amalgamation aims to attract more people to the club and provide more opportunities for junior players.
We're hoping, particularly when new families move into town and they have, sons and daughters, they'll see us as a club to come to. So, we're United, we'll have, we'll be able to have United finances, United fundraising events.
The merger will make things easier for players and spectators come game day.
I believe joining together will make us definitely stronger. It can be one gate taking instead of two, so it's cost saving for families.
Both organisations looking to preserve their history, but club presidents say a new look may also be on the cards next year.
And it may even be a progressive thing over a few years, so there will be, slight colour change.
To work on a united new uniform under a new banner with keeping some of the same colours.
So far, the amalgamation has been heavily supported by its members.
We've sent out a survey to all our members that they were able to vote on, and it was an overwhelming support for the amalgamation.
A special general meeting is hoped to be held in August for members to have a final vote on the amalgamation. Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Heartbeat's pulse has been pumping since 1981, expanding over the years to include 9 branches, including one in Port Pirie. The volunteer organisation helps patients suffering from cardiac disease, as well as raising money for local health organisations like St John.
It's a name we all know and trust. St John Ambulance has been saving lives for over 130 years. And Heartbeat is ensuring they keep doing what they do best by providing a cheque for a new resuscitation mannequin.
It will make our training much more realistic, and that means if we're faced with a collapsed casualty, we'll have that practice that will make it more likely that we can be successful.
As technology advances, first aid training is able to better mimic the real thing. Divisional Superintendent Lynette Poe is passionate about providing the best training possible.
This one we don't have to put a conductive strip on the outside to use the defibrillator, and we can actually insert an airway properly the whole way.
Heartbeat members joined St John's staff to present the cheque and observe a demonstration of CPR and use of a defibrillator, as well as discuss public access to the life-saving device in Port Pirie and other areas.
Well, the simple reason is that we've got some money in the bank where it's not earning any interest as such, and I know that these people did want this mannequin.
Heartbeat has supported St John in the past, as they understand the important role they play in keeping the community safe and well trained.
St John's have always been, they're always there when you need them, at the football, the tennis, basketball, netball, you name it, and they're there, so it's one of the best things in the town, really.
Heartbeat in Port Pirie encourage anyone who is passionate about health, in particular heart health, to contact them. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Tools stolen in yet another robbery around Risdon Park. And dust off the fascinators, the countdown is well and truly on for the biggest day in Port Lincoln's social calendar. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Golf News. Port Pirie Police have been made aware of several trespassing and break-in offences in the Risdon Park area recently. 6 incidents have been recorded in the past month alone, including a break-in at a home on Bensley Street where power tools were taken, among other things. Police are encouraging locals to report any suspicious activity around homes and to check home CCTV cameras for anything untoward. Meantime, a blast hose has been stolen from a Port Pirie business along George Street. 7 metres of the hose was taken sometime between 4 p.m. on Sunday and 6 a.m. on Monday morning. Anyone with information of the culprit or the location of the hose is urged to come forward. Fashions on the field, live music, good food and some horse racing on the side. Dubbed the biggest day on the city's social calendar, the Port Augusta Cup is on this coming weekend to the backdrop of the picturesque Flinders Ranges.
It's off to the races this weekend. The highly anticipated Port Augusta Cup is set to host patrons for a day of glitz, glamour and thrills.
This is really the event of the year to be at.
The weather will be absolutely fantastic, I'm told, and we're looking forward to an 8-race program with the highlight being the City of Port Augusta Cup.
For the punters already looking for the inside scoop, the favourite of this year's Cup is a local horse.
Favourite this year looks like it'll be very hard to beat, and Grinzinger Star is the name of the horse.
However, the day is not all about horse whispering and betting slips, with the club's fashions on the field set to turn it up a notch this year.
We have got over $2,500 in cash and prizes to give away to both Best Dressed Lady, Best Dressed Man. We have other categories as well as children.
Bar facilities will be open for those looking to bust out the champagne to celebrate with friends or to drown their losses.
Plenty of catering on course. We've got the Lions and the Rotary Club here with barbecues and hot donuts, as well as our coffee van, so we'll have something for everybody.
The Racing Club has organised buses from the west side, east side and out at Stirling North to ensure patrons are not left walking home after a big day out at the races.
Racing will be fantastic, has been for all our meetings so far this year. The facilities are looking absolutely splendid.
So tickets are available online at Moshtix. Just search Port Augusta Races, or likewise tickets are available at the gate.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Rejoice as some fuel prices drop in the Spencer Golf. And we'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Golf News. There's little to no relief for drivers throughout the Spencer Golf filling up their cars this week, but it could be worse. Adelaide has been hit the hardest with an increase in unleaded fuel prices.
Despite the constant high price of fuel across the state, this week in Port Pirie we are seeing green arrows. Starting with unleaded prices, Adelaide has seen a huge jump of over 30 cents and is now sitting at the highest price to buy unleaded fuel. Residents will be on the hunt for the cheapest prices. Hill, Kadina and Port Augusta have also seen jumps in prices, but nothing more than a few cents. Fortunately, there is some relief in Port Lincoln, Whyalla and Port Pirie. In the regions, Port Pirie and Kadina are currently sitting at the cheapest prices, around the $2.06 range. Port Augusta and Broken Hill are at the other end of the scale, both sitting at the $2.13 mark. Over to diesel. Again, it is nice to not only be seeing red for once. Another big increase here, but this time in Broken Hill. Last week's prices sat at $2.90, and this week it's jumped by 10 cents, now sitting at $2.39. Let's hope this comes down soon. There are slight increases in Whyalla, Port Augusta and Kadina, all sitting in the $2.36 range. There is some relief in Port Lincoln, Adelaide and Port Pirie, who have experienced the 4 cents drop, and is now showing the lowest price among them all. Let's hope this continues. Lastly, we will look at Autogas. As we often see, majority of the prices have stayed stagnant, with the only change occurring in Port Pirie, but it is a price drop to celebrate, dropping from $1.19 to $1.07. Port Pirie residents should fill up while this lasts. Motorists in Port Pirie and Adelaide are currently paying the least, and those located in Kadina and Port Lincoln are forking out the most. As always, it's important to remember these are just regional averages and do not represent any particular outlet. If you see unleaded, diesel or autogas at a cheaper price, please let us know on our Facebook.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, we've been going on about this all week, but it really was cold this morning.
Good evening, Maddie. Well, Port Augusta residents can certainly vouch for the cold weather at 7:30 this morning. It felt like -5.5 degrees Celsius. The coolest official reading was -2.3 degrees at 5:30 a.m, a fair bit colder than last month's coldest temp, which was -1.9. Adelaide residents would have also felt the chill on the way to work, having its coldest morning in 10 months. Adelaide did thaw out to a top of 14 degrees today. Broken Hill was nice and sunny, reaching 17, and 16 the top in Port Lincoln. Looking more broadly at today's weather map now, 16 degrees in Cooper Pedy, Port Augusta, Woodner and Port Lincoln, just 13 degrees in Kadina after an overnight low of -0.9. Taking a look at the satellite image now, a weak cold front will move over southern coasts later tonight, ahead of another high which will develop south of the Bight tomorrow. The high will bring onshore winds before it moves eastward over the weekend, while a stronger cold front is forecast on Monday. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Southerly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas below a metre, and south to southwesterly swell below a metre, increasing up to 1.5 metres. Between 8 and 16 degrees in Port Lincoln on Thursday, 14 the top in Cleve with a shower or two, Woodner partly cloudy and 16 degrees there. Partly cloudy conditions in Whyalla tomorrow, set to reach a top of 15 degrees. Partly cloudy in Port Augusta as well, set to top 16 degrees there, and Kadina will be cloudy with a top of 15. Similar conditions in Port Pirie, 16 degrees tomorrow, a shower or two, just 11 degrees in Clare, and in Broken Hill it'll be partly cloudy and 13 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, looking at Friday's forecast, possible showers for Whyalla, Port Lincoln and Port Pirie. Woodner and Port Augusta will be cloudy and 16 degrees. Things are looking fairly similar on Saturday, except the rain will move away from Port Pirie. Temperatures between 15 and 16 degrees just about everywhere else. And finally, taking a look at Sunday's outlook, it's looking a bit more promising. Port Augusta will be mostly sunny for the Cup, heading for a top of 18 degrees after some morning frost. 17 in Woodner, Whyalla, Port Lincoln and Port Pirie, sunny and 15 degrees over the border in Broken Hill. So, Maddie, more of these cold mornings to come, but the promise of some sunshine makes it bearable. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Wednesday. I'm Madeline Kerr. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.